In this action thriller, we follow the seemingly ordinary life of Hutch Mansell, a man living a quiet, boring life, until one night everything changes. When his home was attacked, Hutch unleashed a dark side he's long buried. This leaves everyone questioning, who exactly is Hutch Mansell? The movie opens with Hutch Mansell, a bruised man, sitting calmly in a dimly lit room, handcuffed, as two detectives demand to know who he is. He was yet to reply when the scenes cut, leaving the mystery of his identity hanging. We're introduced to Hutch's uninteresting routine, jogging, work, and a home life where his wife Becca seems distant and tired. Every Tuesday, he misses the garbage truck, a small but telling detail of his uneventful life. This uneventful existence continues until one Monday night when everything changes. Hutch is jolted awake by noises in his house. After checking on his sleeping daughter Abby and his worried son Blake, he heads downstairs where he discovers two intruders. Armed with a golf club, Hutch considers calling the police but is forced to comply when the intruders spot him. They demand cash, but Hutch tells them he only uses a debit card, then points to a bowl on the table where there was some cash. When Blake surprises one intruder by tackling him, Hutch hesitates, choosing not to strike the second intruder. The burglars flee, leaving Blake furious and confused about why his father didn't act. The police arrive, and Hutch, feeling guilty for endangering his family, faces questions from his son and the officers about his inaction. Unable to sleep, Hutch moves to the living room, where his daughter reassures him she feels safe because he's there. The next day, Hutch's boring routine continues, but the incident lingers. A neighbor brags about how he would have handled the situation, while a co-worker, Charlie, who is also Hutch's brother-in-law, urges Hutch to protect his family, handing him a gun. Hutch stashes the gun in the office fridge and heads to his office. On his way, his father-in-law Eddie told him he understands his actions, but however wanted to know why Hutch was interested in buying out the company. Hutch tells him that he just wanted something for himself. In a private moment, Hutch tunes into a secret radio frequency to talk to his half-brother Harry. He reveals details about the break-in, including his realization that the intruder's gun was empty, explaining his hesitation. Harry warns him not to do anything reckless. Visiting his father David in a nursing home, Hutch reflects on their past. But that evening, when Abby can't find her precious kitty bracelet, Hutch is enraged, realizing the burglars took it. He retrieves a gun and some cash, then an old FBI ID from his father's apartment, determined to retrieve the bracelet. Hutch visits several tattoo shops, searching for clues. One worker recognizes a tattoo on Hutch's wrist. One he identified is carried by the most dangerous of men. He hurriedly flees the scene, knowing the danger Hutch poses, and causes the remaining to direct Hutch to the robbers. Confronting the robbers in their home, he nearly kills the man responsible until he hears a baby crying. Discovering the couple has a sick infant, Hutch leaves in frustration, venting his anger on a nearby wall. On the bus ride home, Hutch encounters a group of drunken thugs who crash their SUV. When they board the bus and start harassing a female passenger, Hutch sees an opportunity to release his pent-up rage. He locks the bus doors and takes on the thugs in a brutal, bloody brawl, despite being stabbed. After dispatching the men, Hutch helps one of them who he had hit on the neck. He quickly performed a tracheostomy on the man before apologizing to the bus driver for the mess, and then walked away. Back home, Becca tends to Hutch's wounds, while he reminds her of their past. Meanwhile, Russian mobster Yulian Kuznetsov learns that his brother Teddy was one of the men Hutch had beaten on the bus. Furious, Yulian vows revenge. Harry calls Hutch, warning him about Yulian and encouraging him to see a man named the Barber. Hutch visits the barber, who confirms that Yulian is a dangerous man overseeing the Obshak fortune. They are a very dangerous Russian mafia group. Meanwhile, Yulian's expert Lupita uncovers Hutch's dark history, prompting her to quit working for Yulian out of fear. That evening, as Hutch prepares for dinner with his family, he notices suspicious cars approaching their house. He quickly hides his family in a secret basement, telling Becca not to call 911. Yulian's men, led by Pavel, enter the house, but Hutch, hiding in the shadows, takes them out one by one. He was eventually overwhelmed and captured. Then, he was thrown into a car trunk. He soon regains consciousness and then uses a fire extinguisher to blind the men, causing a crash, killing Pavel, Yulian's right-hand man, and the others. Hutch escapes and warns his father, then sends his family to safety. He returns home to clean up his house, leaving no evidence. As he leaves, he spots Abby's bracelet realizing it was a home all along. He gets his stuff and sets his house on fire before driving away in his neighbor's car. Later, two men quietly enter David's room at the nursing home, walking past the sleeping caregiver. The TV was on, and David seemed to be asleep. The men pulled out their guns, but just as they did, David opened his eyes. He grabbed one man's gun and used his shotgun to shoot the other. He then shot the second man and held him down as the caregiver entered the room. David pretended the noise was just the TV and turned down the volume when asked. The second man died shortly after. Meanwhile, Hutch went to his office, dumped a pile of gold bars on the table, and told Charlie and Eddie that he was buying the place. Charlie was upset and tried to hit Hutch, but Hutch struck him first. Eddie agreed to the deal, and Hutch ordered them to leave. He then rigs his office with traps and explosives, preparing for Yulian's arrival. Yulian, watching the news about Pavel's accident, called his men to prepare for action. At the same time, Hutch fortified his office. He then attacked a building which houses the Obshak fortune, killed all the guards, set the money inside on fire, and walked away. Later, Hutch confronted Yulian in a club, revealing a claymore. He offered Yulian a choice: leave the criminal life or face him. Yulian opted for the later option, and after a tense chase, Hutch arrived at his new office building, joined by his father David and Harry, who revealed they've come out of retirement to help. The three engage in a deadly firefight with Yulian's men. As they run out of ammunition, Hutch devises a last-ditch plan, strapping the claymore to a shield and charging at Yulian, killing him in the explosion but surviving himself. As the police arrive, Hutch calls Becca, promising to make things right. He retrieves a portrait he had stolen from Yulian and a cat before walking away. Back at the initial scene of the movie, Hutch is released by the detectives after they receive a mysterious call. 3 months later, as he and Becca tour a new house, they ask the realtor if the home has a basement, hinting that their violent past isn't entirely behind them. In a post-credit scene, Harry and David, loaded with guns in a truck, joke about their road trip, hinting at more adventures to come.